Welcome to AT Math. Today, 9-8, completing the square. Why it's easier than kicking the winning goal in a soccer game. Okay. In this section we are going to determine what we need to add to make a perfect square. Now a lot of people traditionally have trouble with this section. Let me kind of help you. Here's what you're going to see. You're going to see an equation that says x squared plus 10x plus something. Now, to make this a perfect square, what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to factor into two smaller pieces that are the same. So simply put, what do I need to add to make this a perfect square? Well, at first you might have a little trouble with this, but then it should get easier. What we do is take the 10x and take half of that. Half would be 5. Now why half? Because if you remember, to find an equation, what plus what makes this, and what times what makes this. In order to find what plus what would make this, simply take it in half. In other words, 10 divided by 2 is 5. And 5 plus 5 makes 10, so the 5 plus 5 component's there. And what is 5 times 5 but 25? So I need to put a 25 right here. So if I have a 25 here, now x squared plus 10x plus 25, if I break it down into factors, I know it's square because it breaks down to x plus 5 and x plus 5, which are the same. So it's x plus 5 squared. To quickly recap again, I started with this up here. I had to ask what I need to add to make this a perfect square equation. To do this, you simply divide this by 2, 10 divided by 2, which gives you 5, and take 5 times that 5 to make 25, and that's going to set you up for what you need to then go ahead and factor into equal smaller pieces, x plus 5 times x plus 5, square both, sort of make x plus 5 square, and there's your answer. You try. Go ahead. Let's see how you did. A little trickier, I admit, because you have to take negative 9 and divide by 2. So you start with negative 4.5 or negative 9/2, whichever makes you happier. I went ahead and made negative 4.5, and if you square both of them together, two negatives make a positive, and 4.5 times 4.5 is 20.25. So that simply fits right in there. So now you have this, and if you were to factor, it'd be x minus 4.5 times x minus 4.5, and there you go. Now when you have this, x squared plus 14x equals 15, ignore the 15. We're going to ignore it. We're not going to pull it over this time, which is something new. I'm going to forget it's there, and I'm going to imagine that there was simply a box here that had to be filled the same way as before. So 14 divided by 2 is 7, and 7 times 7 is 49, so I have to add 49 here to make this into a perfect square equation. So if I add 49 to one side, you have to add it to the other. So again, I had to add 49 here, and yes, this makes 64, but that's not what I'm worried about. I want to make sure this is x squared plus 14x plus 49, because that I can split into two smaller binomials, which is x plus 7 times x plus 7, as follows. And yes, I can take 64 and say, well, that's plus and minus 8 squared. In other words, 8 times 8 squared and negative 8 times negative 8 is 6. 8 times 8 is 64 squared, and negative 8 times negative 8 is 64 squared. Simply put, x plus 7 times x plus 7 is x plus 7 squared. So I have a square here, root makes these squares go away. X plus 7 now equals positive and negative 8. From here, instead of plus 7, you have to minus 7 to one side, minus it to the other. Now there's two separate things that are going to happen. I'm going to take the positive 8 minus 7 to get one possibility, and negative 8 minus 7 to get the other possibility. So, positive 8 minus 7 will be 1. Negative 8 minus 7 is negative 15. So if these are our answers, let's plug them in and see if they work. Well, when I plug a 1 in here, 1 squared is 1, 14 times 1 is 14, 1 plus 14 does equal 15. And negative 15 squared, negative 15 times negative 15 will become positive 225. Really, that should be a negative, but that's okay. It serves the purpose all the same. And 14 times negative 15 is negative 210. Well, 225 plus negative 210 also equals 15. So 15 equals 15 and 15 equals 15. They both work out, so they're both the answers. Again, a very quick recap how I did that. You start here, you do not move this over. That's going to be hard for some, because a couple lessons ago I taught you to move everything over. Now we're going to ignore that piece on the other side, the equal sign. Just take half and square it. Half of 14 is 7, square of 7 is 49, add 49, add 49. That gets you your start. Split them up into two binomials, x plus 7 square, root. Remember 64 could just be 8 square. If you want, you don't even have to make it 8 square. You can just put square root of 64. Same result. It's going to be positive and negative 8. So whichever way you want to play it is fine. Square root, x plus 7 equals positive negative 8, minus 7, minus 7. Plus or minus 8 has two options, the positive 8 and the negative 8. Play out both sides. See what you get. You try. If you need a little help, I'm going to walk you through. If not, you can just skip past this piece right here. Ignore the 20. Make a box after 8x. Have 8, which is 4. 4 squared, which is 16. So add 16 over here, add 16 over here. Go ahead and try it. Let's see how you did. Divide by 2 is 4. 4 squared is 16, so plus 16 plus 16. So you have x squared plus 8x plus 16, and 20 plus 16 is 36. Go ahead and break this into two binomials, x plus 4 times x plus 4, x plus 4 squared. And 36, you can either keep as 36 or make plus or minus 6 squared, whichever makes you happier. Root, x plus 4 equals a positive 6 and a negative 6. Instead of plus 4, we're going to minus 4. Minus 4 to a positive 6, and minus 4 to a negative 6 to see both possible outcomes. 6 minus 4 is 2, and negative 6 minus 4 is negative 10. Plug both in to make sure they work. 2 squared is 4. 8 times 2 is 16. 4 plus 16 is 20. And negative 10 squared, remember it's parentheses, so it's negative 10 times negative 10, which makes positive 100. And 8 times negative 10, which is negative 80. 100 plus negative 80 is 20 as well. 20 equals 20. Now this. X squared minus 2x minus 2 equals 0. In this case, even though everything is on the one side, we're going to move it anyway. We're going to get rid of that one piece because negative 2 does not fit. Since negative 2 does not fit, we simply don't want it around. So, instead of minus 2, we're going to add 2. Add 2 to one side, add 2 to the other. So we'll do that right here. This opens a new lane so I can put a new box here. Don't worry that the 2's over here. We'll get to it later. For right now, in order to find what this box should be, this piece that's now missing. And what I mean by that, to give you an understanding, let me go ahead and make that so you can see. So it would be plus something, but we don't know what. Well, it's negative 2, so divide that by 2, which is negative 1. Take negative 1 squared, which is going to be positive 1. So I'm going to add 1 here, I'm going to add 1 here. Look below. Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. And negative 1 squared will be a positive 1. So all I need here is a positive 1. If I add 1 to this side, you have to add 1 to this side. So plus 1 plus 1. The new equation is x squared minus 2x plus 1 equals 3. From there, we're going to split it up into two binomials. So x minus 1 and x minus 1. Square, if you will. And this equals 3. Root just becomes x minus 1. This is actually still a positive or negative 3. Now, do you want to make it into a decimal? At this stage, I would say don't do it yet. Keep it as positive negative square root of 3. If you make it a decimal, I won't mark it wrong. I just might be easier for to have it in this form. Now instead of minus 1, we're going to add 1 to one side, add 1 to the other. But remember that positive and negative square root of 3 are split into a positive square root of 3 and negative square root of 3, which means two different outcomes. So this really is your finished product. Positive, negative square root of 3 plus 1. You can keep it like that, or you can put it like this. You can say x equals 1 plus square root of 3 and x equals 1 minus square root of 3. Now why did I put the 1 first? Simply because 1's a constant and the positive negative is the shifty. The positive negative square root of 3 is the shifty one. I put it in back. You don't have to. You could put positive square root of 3 plus 1 and negative square root of 3 plus 1 in two separate places. I don't have a preference at this time, but the book will probably have the number first usually, but it depends. Now this is fine, but you need to get them, if you need to get an exact number, we'll just root 3. Root of 3 is 1.73, so positive square root of 3 is 1.73, and the negative square root of 3 is negative 1.73, and then just put them in. 1 plus 1.73 is 2.73, and 1 minus 1.73 is negative 0.73. You try. Remember, get rid of the minus 10 first. Add 10 to both sides. Make a new box. Divide by 2 and square. Let's see how you do. Alright, let's go ahead. Get rid of the negative 10 first. Add 10 to both sides. Get it out of the way. So now I have an open space, x squared minus 6x plus something. We don't know what, but it's going to fill in right here. What do? Take this, divide by 2, which is negative 3, square negative 3 times negative 3, which makes positive 9. Positive 9 here, positive 9 here. You might say, wait, that's 19. Don't worry about it. So it's a weird number. So what? Plus 9 plus 9. Now, split this into two equal binomials, two perfect squares, x minus 3 and x minus 3, which is going to become x minus 3 squared equals 19 still. Root. The root and the square cancel, leaving x minus 3. The root of 19 is positive or negative 19. All you have to do to finish, instead of minus 3, add 3 here, add 3 here. This time I have the square root in front, so either or. Plus or minus square root of 19 plus 3. You split it up. I guess in the end I put the whole number first, but whatever. This is fine. If I have to finish it off to a decimal, 4.36. So you add 4.36 here, and here you minus 4.36. And there is your answer. Quick break.